and welcome. You're watching Buy Now, Sell Now on ET Now. I'm Shrishti Sharma and with me is Vinny Motiwala. And viewers, this is your show where you get all your stock-related queries answered by the experts. So do get ready for that. We'll be keeping flashing our WhatsApp number onto the screen, and we are also live on YouTube, Twitter, as well as Instagram and all the social media platform. You can directly connect with us as well. But let's move on and quickly have a look at what the markets are up to. So the first day of a very crucial and an important week this time around, because we have many of earnings lined up. We have the budget ahead on Wednesday, and just before that, the market action onto the decline continues because Winnie, once again, markets are continuing that pressure and losing all of the morning gains as well as for Nifty as well as for Bank Nifty.
Absolutely. Just look at the charts and let's pull up the charts for Nifty coming in. Nifty as of now is down almost 0.3% on trade, like you mentioned, off the day's highest point. So surely that's a one to watch out for. We've already seen a volatile week coming in last week as well, and today also seems like pressure has continued on the Nifty. Sensex 2 down almost 0.2% on trade, trading around the 59,190 levels. So keep an eye out on the benchmark indices. Broader markets performing seems like almost in tandem with the benchmark indices, at least the mid-cap space. Mid-cap space is also down almost 0.3% on trade. So similar lines that we're seeing in terms of the Nifty as well as the Sensex. While what is actually holding up to some bit of green coming in is the small cap space. Nifty small cap is holding on to mild gains of around 0.08%. But yes, it's inching towards that negative mark. Just look at the chart coming in on your screens as well, inching towards that negative mark as well. But let's move on and talk about individual stocks. Also look at Bajaj Finance among the top Nifty 50 gainers today, up 4.66% after its numbers coming in. Adani Enterprises today among the gainers as well, up 3.43%. Bajaj Finserv, Sun Pharma, Ultratech among the top gainers today in trade. While in terms of the losers, we have Power Grid, which is down among the top losers in Nifty 50. IndusInd Bank is also down, while look at Tata Steel, Apollo Hospitals, JSW Steel. The steel names, the steel companies seem to be a bit under pressure as well. Even Hindalco is down almost more than 2% in a trade as well. Now, other than that, just when you look at other individual names that have been coming in, and pulling up the charts for the Adani stocks as well. Whether you look at Adani Transmission, Adani Total, Adani Green, they seem to be under pressure, but Adani Enterprises, Adani Ports, they are buzzing in trade, gaining in trade as well. So keep an eye on that. There's a bit of movement coming in even in Aegis Logistics, which is up almost 12.94% as well. Let's look at some of the individual sectors, also what they're doing. Let's look at what Nifty Auto is doing as of now as well, and keep an eye out on that one. Nifty Auto as of now is down almost 0.4% in trade as well. Other than that, we have Nifty Media, which is under pressure as well, and Nifty Energy also down almost 3.4% as well. Only ones which are managing to hold on to some bit of a gain today in the sector-wise is the Nifty Pharma as well as the Nifty IT as well. So yes, most of the sectors still trading in the red, except for a bit of IT and Pharma, which is seem to be gaining some bit of attraction over there. But let's bring on board our guests for today. We have Avinash Gorakshekar as well as Heman joining with us. Good morning to both of y'all, gentlemen. And Avinash, firstly, I'm going to come to you. Obviously, look at the week that is going by. Budget is always a very volatile week that you see coming in. What should an investor actually be doing to protect themselves from this volatility? What would your advice be for an investor?
I think first of all, I would believe that, I think one should be a little careful in investing in speculative counters like Adani. I think until little more clarity comes out, I think it is better to invest into, companies where the top line visibility and the profitability is more or less comfortable. I think there are many companies in the market which offer a much more steady kind of growth and which are more, solid in terms of margin of safety. I think the investor should take a long-term view of investing into a basket of stocks which possibly cover a lot of promising sectors like automobiles, auto components, capital goods. So I think there are many choices available. I think if an investor wants to build wealth gradually, I think he should use a normal SIP approach rather than putting a lump sum amount of money in the market. And I think just before the budget, my advice would be to please wait for the budget, let things get clearer. And once the budget is out, I think you could get a lot of opportunities to invest in the market. But I mean, there is no need to hurry. You will be getting lots of opportunities. I think timing the market is not of any use, but obviously, staying invested for a longer term is definitely going to be the mantra for these small investors.
So timing the market is not advisable ahead of the budget. Market continues to remain volatile, and the SIP mode is something that you can really opt for. Stay invested for long term. That would be a strategy that you can adopt at this point in time. But Heyman, a very good morning to you. Firstly, onto the markets. What is your view on the index level specifically? Because just ahead of the budget, we are seeing the markets drifting quite lower, and there seem to be no respite for the markets as of now in the new week as well. So what are the levels that you are watching out for Nifty as well as Bank Nifty?
A very good morning to you. Thank you for having me on the show. I think, like you mentioned, yes, they are drifting lower. We spent around 4.5, 5 weeks moving sideways in a range between roughly 17,800 and 18,250 on the upside, 18,300. And after that 4.5 weeks of sideways movement, last week on Friday itself, we gave a downward breakout by closing below 17,800, which we hadn't done in the last few months. So obvious near term, I think there is technical weakness. The VIX is shot up. It used to be 13, 14, not above 15 for quite some time. We're at 18 and a half. So yes, so everything seems to suggest that we've given a downward breakout. Having said that, 17,430 is strong support. Support comes in below that at 17,226. I think we have just 2 days left, today, tomorrow, and then we have the budget. Markets seem to be a bit oversold. I wouldn't bet on it closing below 17,430 in the near term. Maybe we'd see some clarity, like Avinash said, after the budget. But currently, I'd say 17,430 holds. We'll sort of stabilize a bit over here. And it would be a tad bit surprising if we break 17,430 in terms of closing. So these are the levels to watch out for. On the upside, we have 17,613, 17,792, and 17,948.
Thank you so much, Heyman, for telling us all those levels to be watched out for. So for Nifty, there's another 100 points of headroom onto the downside, and 17,430 is something that you should be looking out for when it comes to the support level for this particular index. But with this, it's time to slip into a short break. Viewers, don't go anywhere, because as we come back, then it's the time to take all your stock-related queries, so stay tuned.
Welcome back. You're watching Buy Now, Sell Now on ET Now with me, Cheryl D'Souza. Along with me, I have Shrishti Sharma on the show. And we have our experts today, Heyman Kapadia as well as Avinash Gorakhshekar. Very good morning to you, Heyman, as well as Avinash. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. And remember, viewers, this is the show where we get you answers for all of your stock-related queries. You can join us live on YouTube, Twitter, as well as on Facebook, or you can write to us on the WhatsApp number that will be flashing on the top of your screen. Do mention your name, the stock that you're looking to invest in, as well as the time horizon and your buy price if you already purchased the stock. So let's quickly get going with all the queries that have lined up. And the first one is coming in from Abhishek Mehta, and he wants to know if it's the right time to invest in Polyplex Corporation, or should he stay away from this one for a while right now. Hemant, his view is for the next 3 to 6 months. Polyplex is one particular stock. Of late, I've seen a lot of our viewers actually ask question on this one. Either they are already invested in this, but in Abhishek's case, he is wondering whether he should invest in this right now or no for the period of 3 to 6 months.
Very good, ma'am. Good morning, Piyush. Thanks for having me on the show. Like you hit the nail on the head. I mean, it's been floundering. It's been making lower tops, lower bottoms. Firstly, the support comes in at around 1450. Couple of things. Short term is getting a bit oversold. We saw a volume spike coming in sometime last week. Those levels have held. So I would say stronger hands are bought. Uh, Weekly chart, things seem to be getting stable. But for things to improve, we need a close above 1650 at least on the weekly chart. If I look at the longer term charts, things don't look pretty. There is clear weakness, but yes, having said that, the short to medium term picture suggests one. If 1450 doesn't break, we'd see a recovery, especially on a close above 1650. So as of now, I'd say stay put. A bounce seems to be around the corner, but this from a slightly short to medium term point of view. Sure.
On to the next query that we have is coming from Sumanta Chatterjee, and Avinash, he's holding 5 shares of Bosch, and he invested in this counter back in December 2021 at the price of 15,200. Currently sitting at profits, but he wants to know what's the outlook in the short term for this particular counter.
See, I think Bosch is basically a engine component player and a MNC player, and I think my sense is that both the commercial vehicle sector and the tractor sector are doing well. So indirectly, this is a big positive, for the company. Apart from that, the company also makes CRDI, engines, which are basically supplied to most of the passenger car companies. So I would believe that, over the next, say, 12 to 18 months, the business trajectory is going to be pretty solid for Bosch. In the short term, it would depend on how basically, volume offtake gets, a push in the Jan to March quarter, because typically Jan to March quarter is supposed to be the peak quarter for most of the automobile companies. But I think if he can hold on for the next, say, 12 to 15 odd months, he could definitely expect a further upside, considering the fact that it's a debt-free business, a very high ROC business, and most importantly, a very high critical technology savvy business. I think he should definitely give it a long-term kind of approach for this stock, because in the medium to long term, I believe there is still a decent amount of upside which is left. So near term, stock could remain volatile, but yes, longer term, I think it's a stock worth holding on.
Okay, this one is coming from Manish Raju, and this one is for you, Heyman, once again. And he's saying, with the fall in the sum of the large cap banks, which bank is good to enter, but only for a period of 3 to 6 months? Is it SBI, IndusInd, or some other bank?
Frankly speaking, SBI is one of the weaker banks. IndusInd didn't participate much, so not done much. Yeah, it's come off. He didn't speak. Okay, it's not come off. He didn't talk. But frankly speaking, on technical parameters, HDFC Bank is the strongest of the lot. If you're looking for cheap stock, technically speaking, it's Kotak Bank.
Moving on to the next query that's coming from Venkat Rao from Vishakhapatnam, and Avinash, he invested in a small cap company named Orient Rail Infrastructure at a price of 110 at a huge loss right now. Do we track this one, and would you be able to advise him?
Shishti, I don't track this small cap company.
Moving on to the next one that I have, that's coming from a viewer, and Hemant, he's holding shares of IndusInd Bank at an average price of 1,040, and this query is from Satya. What will be your advice on this particular banking counter?
Well, frankly, not too much of good news, honestly, Shishti. We've moved sideways for what, 4.5 months? Range was between 1120, 1274. We've given a downward breakout last week, and we followed up with a further downside. Support comes in at 1062,000. Not at all looking good. Short term oversold, yes. Market bounce will participate, but the medium term picture has been spoiled. I'd prefer to stay away. I mean, if he's bought, you will have to hold it at least for a year or more to sort of be in the black.
Okay, this one is from Baswar Raja, and he wants to know about L&T Finance. He already has 800 shares at a price of 83 rupees per share. Avinash, he wants to know, does it make sense to hold or exit, or should he look to average?
I think he should hold on, considering the fact that see L&T Finance Holding is basically a group company of the Larsen and Toubro family. Well, L&T is holding a majority shareholding, and I think hopefully in the coming budget, if some major announcements come about in the manufacturing and in the capital goods sector, definitely that is good news for the company. More importantly, L&T Holding is largely into financing of tractors as well as vehicles, in the rural markets. So definitely, I think things are looking up. If the investor can hold on for the next say 12 to 18 months, I think most of the negatives are built into the price already, Cheryl. So I think he should hold on, give it some more time. I think he could definitely expect a decent risk reward in the next say 12 to 18 months.
Okay, moving on, and Avinash, once again coming to you, the query is from Bhardwaj, and he has 85 shares of KRBL at an average price of 214. Can he buy more at the current market price, or will that be a sell at these levels? He's a long-term investor, so what's your advice on this one?
See, I think the basmati market is, reportedly doing pretty well. In fact, despite the fact that stocks have not actually done that well, you look at all the rice stocks, especially Kohinoor Foods or KRBL. There has been some selling pressure, considering the fact that there have been some reports that exports to Middle East could get curbed in the near term. But I think looking at the fact that this is a seasonal business, and most importantly, it depends on the cost of inventory which the company carries on its balance sheet. I would believe that the investor needs to give in a little more time. KRBL is a very well established player in the rice market, has a good branded positioning also in the market. So I think give it a little more time and continue to hold on. I believe the next year should be decent, with a decent crop, and obviously with paddy prices coming down. That would definitely help the company retain its margins which were there in the previous 1 or 2 years. So continue to hold on. That's the advice.
All right. This one is coming in from Satya, and he wants to know if there's any one particular counter that he can buy in current market scenario for a period of 6 to 12 months. He wants a value buy. I mean, I know though this sort of a question is really short one, but it's a difficult one.
Well, frankly speaking, I'd go for something in IT. I like emphasis, but I guess it would be a toss-up between Coforge or Persistent Shell.
Okay, so IT is something that Himen is liking at this point in time, but moving on to the next query. And Avinash, this query is from Bala, and he wants to know from you, is Godavari Power a buy at the current market price? Because in the past 6 months, the stock is already up around 29%. So what's your view on this one?
See, I think Godavari Power should benefit because it's a backward integrated kind of play, and most importantly, numbers at least in the previous 1 or 2 quarters have been very strong. But frankly, despite the fact that numbers have been very strong, the going forward in the next say 1 or 2 quarters is going to be pretty challenging, because most of the capacity for this company has got utilized. So now incremental gains are going to come in only from price increases. So I would believe that rather than buying this company in a hurry, it's better to wait for the stock to actually correct a little bit further. And I think that would give a decent risk reward. From a longer term perspective, the business will do well, but in the near term, the stock will remain in a very narrow range. So I think unless you've got a 12 to 18-month horizon, I would not suggest you to buy at the current level. Wait for some correction, and that would be an ideal time to enter.
Okay. There are a couple of questions coming in on Adani Group of companies, but I would like to take that to you actually, Hemen. And this one is coming from KR Balan, and he is definitely holding some of these counters in his portfolio. He has Gujarat, Ambuja at levels of around 320 odd rupees, and Adani Ports at 720 rupees per share. Now he wants to know whether he should sell, hold, or average. Also, now he wants to know if Adani Enterprises is a good buy, given the fact that it's seen a sharp fall.
Well, Shell, my favorite pick would be Adani Ports. But at the times of such volatility, I think you'll have to take it with a little bit of pinch of salt in terms of the levels. If we are speaking about Ambuja, it's made a low of 345 on Friday. I believe that level should hold simply because it's in the midst of a congestion area. So it would be not surprising, but yeah, it would, you know, would evoke some response in the sense I believe for the time being the rot has sort of stopped in terms of the downside. And if I were to talk about Adani Ports, I think slightly similar view. We posted a low of around 540 on Friday. There is very strong support at 562 and at 500. So I'd say hold. If you want to buy more, wait a bit because there's a budget around the corner, VIX is up, and maybe the news flow is still driving the stock prices. But yeah, I think you can, if they come down by 10-15% more, or maybe, sorry, 20% more, I'd say buy Adani Ports and first and Ambuja second. I don't have a very clear view on Adani Enterprises at the moment, Sherry.
Adani Ports, and then Ambuja will be the second pick from the Adani group of shares. But let me continue with a couple of more queries onto the same group. And Avinash, coming to you for this one. Abhi invested in Adani Wilmar at a price of 284, currently at a profit, but he wants to know what's the view on a long-term perspective, and he also wants to know if will that be advisable to add more in this particular counter if the price falls below 450 rupees. What's your view on this one?
No, I think Adani Wilmar definitely should do well because it runs a B2C business model, and most importantly, important critical inputs like palm oil prices have come down sharply, from their peak levels. My guess is if the investor has a 2-year view, then I think he should definitely not worry for what is happening currently with the group. In the short term, the stocks would remain volatile because the focus of the markets currently is on the kind of allegations which the Heidelberg report has presented. But I would believe that the fundamentals of the company remain strong. The business continues to grow very fast, and I think a B2C business always commands valuations in the longer term. So I think if at all the stock corrects and it presents an opportunity, then I think the investor should take a long-term call here. Don't look at the short-term price trend, but yes, longer term, definitely good amount of money could be made, provided the time frame is at least 12 to 18 months or roughly about 2 years.
This last one from the from the Adani group of companies. This one is from Sagar. He wants a technical view on ACC and Ambuja. Came in. He's saying he shorted intraday at the upper circuit. He's saying he knows that it's a bold and a very risky move, but the risk reward seems favorable as it was pretty much expected that the stock is pumped up. Now he wants to know, is there any target on the downside that you are aiming for ACC Ambuja? On the other hand, you have RK who wants to know whether it makes sense to enter afresh in Ambuja Cements right now.
Honestly speaking, Cheryl, that sounds a little bit like Mission Impossible, but let me give it my best. Okay, as starting with ACG, if I were to look at intraday, okay, the move has been pretty significant. Firstly, in terms of support levels, there is minor support at 1860, but better support at 1850. If this breaks in the sense, if it remains and trades below this level for 1 hour, only and only then we do see a downside. Otherwise, no. Above 1820, if you're trading for at least half an hour or 40 minutes, we'd see a recovery up to 1980 and probably 2060. So I'd say time being, we sort of are stabilizing a bit on technical parameters. Going back to Ambuja, okay, they are mimicking the same stock. I mean, so yeah, it's a very similar sort of view. Level support 385, important one, 374. Close above 400 should take it higher. So if you're going to buy fresh, you'll have to keep today's stop loss. Today's low at the stop loss. I know that's going to be pretty deep. For a smart trade or an intraday trade, you can't have a stop loss at 345, buying at 389, hoping for a target of 420. So it's too deep. If you have a positional view, once again, high volatility, standard caveat, dangerous news flow, keep today's low as a stop loss if you are to and were to go long in Ambuja at this level. Cheryl.
Okay, so that's the view on many of Adani group of shares. But with this, viewers, it's time to slip into a short break. But don't go anywhere. As we come back, we'll continue taking all your stock-related queries. welcome back to Buy Now Sell Now on ET Now, a show where we get all your stock-related queries answered, and let's keep it going with the same. And Avinash, coming to you for the next question. This one is from Srinath, and he wants to know, is this a right time to accumulate shares of IDFC Bank? He wants to keep the same for the next 6 to 1 year. What's your view on this particular counter?
Yeah, IDFC First Bank can be accommodated if the investor has a 12 to 18-month horizon. Clearly, we have seen in the third quarter on all parameters the bank has done exceedingly well. As far as the asset quality is concerned, the net interest margin, the loan book growth is concerned, the CASA deposits are concerned. So I think keep a long-term view. I believe that within the private bank space, this is one of those stocks which could give decent returns, provided one keeps a long-term position here, at least 12 to 18 months. It's definitely a decent bet and is available at very attractive valuations at roughly 2 times FY24, price to book.
Right. This next one is coming in from Rajesh Maheshwari, and he wants to know about the specialty chemical sector. Avinash, he's saying that since the stocks like SRF, Deepak Nitrite, as well as Balaji Mines are actually seeing a sharp fall, he wants to know whether it's prudent to continue to stay invested in these names, or should he look to exit the entire sector?
See, I think my guess is that good old days of specialty chemical companies in terms of margins, in terms of top line growth are now clearly looking over. And we may not be able to see the same alpha which was generated in the last 3 to 4 years. So I think incremental upsides, Cheryl, is going to be quite limited. So my sense is, if the investor has held on to these stocks, has made a decent amount of money, I think he should exit and get into, sectors like capital goods, autos, auto components, where I believe the runway is pretty large and where the risk reward looks better as compared to specialty chemicals.
Okay, moving on to the next question, and Hemin, coming to you for this one. This question is from Kaushik Mitra, and he wants to know the advice on two counters. Firstly, it's BEL. He's holding these counters from a price of 99 rupees. After a mixed set of numbers in Q3, the stock is seen to be under pressure, but another result candidate he's holding is L&T, slated to report its earnings today, and he's holding this counter from a levels of 2300. What's your advice on this one? And keeping the forthcoming budget in mind, are they expected to resume their uptrend post-budget? What's your view on this?
We'll start with BEL, Shishti. Firstly, we've had a humongous run-up. 19 to 114. I mean, it's been a multi-bagger. Normally, when you have such moves, the stocks, with a few exceptions here and there, you have a 5-6 time multi-bagger. The stock doesn't do anything spectacular for the next 1.5 to 2 years. And we are just 5 months into the correction, honestly. So one, it's got a long way to go. Two, it's entered a correction of a greater degree. Three, lower tops, lower bottoms on the weekly charts. Important levels have been broken. Support now comes in at 86 and 72. So if he's going to hold minimum two years, otherwise it's a sell on bounce. Short term, there is support at 86, 87, so this could result in a recovery. But like I said, the technical setup has been spoiled. Yes, if it goes from 114 to 86, don't be surprised sometime down the line that the bounce to 86 or maybe 100. But that does not take anything away from the fact the picture has gone for a toss. Second stock that you mentioned is L&T, and I don't think anything particularly in the budget is going to change the technical view. I mean, it's going to be topsy-turvy for BEL from that point of view. L&T is different. We are getting heavy. We're on the cusp of a correction. Maybe we've just about entered a correction. Once again, we've had a beautiful move. The whole market has 650 to 2300. Tired, overbought. I believe there's some sort of distribution happening. It's not broken the 55-day EMA yet, but yes, he's bought it at 23. If he's going to, well, same logic applies. If you have a longer term point of view of 12 to 18 months, please hold. If not, sell on bounce. I believe there should be a bounce coming somewhere to 22, 22.40 in the next 7 to 10 trading sessions. Yeah.
To add to that, then I have a query from Sri Katran also on BEL. His average buy price was 97 rupees per share. Should he look to average? Yes or no, Hemin? And the other one is coming in from Aman Soni. Long-term view, good to add in this current dip. BEL, he's also holding at an average price of 62 rupees per share. So both of them want to know whether they should add some more. So what's your take on that, Hemin? Then does it make sense?
The correction is getting stronger, so I wouldn't be very gung ho about adding now. But yes, levels, yes. First level I mentioned is 86. second one 72, there's something in between in 80. So if you go to average, 86, 80, and 72 are the levels I'd look to buy over the next three to 4 months. Check.
All right, then next one is coming to you, Avinash. Nino wants to know about your outlook for the textile sector for a period of 3 to 5 years. What sort of an earnings growth should one watch out for in this particular sector? Also, your top bets.
I think the textile sector is coming out of a long problematic issue of rising cotton prices after a long time. So I think now going forward, the fully integrated garment manufacturers would obviously benefit, and I think the yarn companies would obviously be on the back foot. My sense is that I think you have to look at the larger players which are fully integrated, companies like Arvind or Gokuldas Exports. Typically, we believe that these companies are now well poised to record better performances in FY24. Hopefully, I believe, the export market would also take off because, competing countries like Pakistan are completely out of the textile market. And that gives definitely a better edge for the Indian exporters. More importantly, from a raw material perspective, the benefits in margins would be visible from the December as well as from the March quarter. And I think that would be a sort of a re-rating for these companies. And most importantly, in the coming budget, if there are some incentives announced for the textile sector, that would also help these companies. So Arvind and Gokuldas Exports would be my top bets, keeping a time frame of at least 15 to 18 odd months.
Okay, so Arvind and Gokuldas are the top bets from the textile space from Avinash. But Avinash, once again coming to you, the next query is from Sai Babu, and he's looking for a fresh investment in two companies. Firstly, it's PFC, and the other one is RAC. What's your advice on this? On these two counters, he's a long-term investor, and he's looking for a dividend play on both of these counters. So, would you advise him to enter at these levels?
See, I think as REC is concerned, I think he could get a decent dividend yield because this is a power distribution play, and it has been rewarding shareholders with pretty good dividends. As far as PFC is concerned, I would believe that he could possibly also look at it, but provided he enters the stock at a slightly lower odd level. I believe that both these companies can give a decent kind of dividend yield if the investor has a 2 to 3 year time horizon. Because normally when you look at dividend yield stocks, you have to keep a longer time frame to ensure that these dividend yields actually add to your cash flow. So these are not short term bets. So definitely keeping a long term view, I think you can definitely accumulate both these stocks, but from a long term angle.
Okay, Atul Desai wants to know about SBI cards. His average buy price for this one has been 780 rupees per share. So what should he do with this one?
As of now, it's gold. The picture doesn't look good. We've been corrected for the past 7 months, and that's not gone away. And if I look at the longer term charts, I don't see any technical green shoots yet. Mild oversold situation. So hold as of now. Safety's sake, keep a stop loss at 680. We need a close about 750 and 780 for anything to improve on the medium term chart. Till then, I don't see anything, maybe a slight sporadic bounce here and there.
All right, so that's the view coming in on SBI cards. But on that note, we'll actually slip into a break on this edition of Buy Now, Sell Now. When we come back, we'll continue taking all of your stock related queries. So viewers, don't go anywhere. Back, you're watching Buy Now, Sell Now on ET Now. Let's continue taking all of your stock related queries then. And the next one that I have is coming in from Hemant. And Hemant is holding Aarti Industry at the price of around 600 rupees per share. And he's saying that he just got some shares of Aarti Pharma Labs at around 776 rupees per share. I'm unsure, Avinash, if you tracked this one, but he wants a fundamental view on Aarti Pharma Labs.
I think Aarti Pharma Cheryl has got listed only today, and I think it's a business which is for the specialty pharmaceutical business, which has got demerged from Aarti Industries. I think we don't have any data points from Aarti Pharma as of now, but I believe at least based on the current set of numbers which is presented by the company, the stock trades at a multiple of roughly 18 times. So I think one will have to wait for further numbers to come out. and see what is the kind of scalability of the business, what is the kind of commentary which comes out post the current quarter, and only then one could take a longer term call. But I think the investor can hold on to these shares. It's definitely a promising business which can see a lot of good scalability, provided if the investor is patient and can keep a time frame of at least 6 to 12 months. So I would believe he should hold on to these shares. Definitely, I think looks promising, but I think more data points are required to give a conclusive view on the company's medium to long term outlook.
Understand. Heman, coming to you for the next one. This question is from Satya Veni. He wants to know the view on two realty counters. Firstly is Godrej Properties. He bought these shares at a price of 1,453 rupees. And the other one he has is Macrotep Developers, entered around 1,300 odd levels. Currently at a loss on both of these counters. He wants to know, is this advisable to average out at these levels?
No. At least we'll start with Godrej Properties, Shrishti. No, we spent around 8 months over here. We are sort of hanging by the skin of our teeth, so to speak. We're at 1161. 1131 is the important level. If this breaks, then this entire 6-7 months sideways movement can then be labeled as a distribution. The indicators are not showing anything on the longer term charts. Medium term, yes. If 1131 doesn't break and we close above 1250, then we'd see a recovery coming in. But looking at the longer term charts, even an anticipated recovery isn't going to sustain. So I don't think I don't see any technical logic in averaging Godrej at current levels. No. In terms of macro tech, I don't have that much of data to take a longer term view. It's moved sideways for almost 8 months, between 900 on the downside and 1200 on the upside. Technically, it seems better than Godrej Property, no doubt, but not enough data or enough conviction to say you average more. Wait, I think you can send a query again after some time. Currently, it's in a no trade or a no buy zone system.
Okay, this one is coming from Padma Balan, and Padma is a senior citizen, Avinash, and she has holdings in Bank of Maharashtra, IDBI, PNB, BOB, IDFC First Bank, besides SBI as well. And she's saying besides SBI, rest all of the banks that she's holding is making profit above 5 to 10%. Should she hold all of them for a period of 1 year or look to part sell some of them? And if you advise a part sell, then which one do you think that she should book profits out of?
No, I think if she has to take out any stock from the list which you mentioned, I think it would be PNB. PNB is one of those banks, Cheryl, which has not delivered the numbers which broadly the market had expected. I think stocks like IDFC First or Bank of Maharashtra have done remarkably well in the third quarter. In fact, Bank of Maharashtra has shown a very strong growth in its profitability, in its asset quality. So I think definitely, as far as I'm concerned, PNB would be an exit. The rest of the banks she can hold on. I think keep a slightly longer term time frame, at least 12 to 18 months, and then only she could get a decent risk reward, for the holdings which she holds in all these bank, counters.
Let's move on, and it's time to kickstart the rapid fire session. And the first question that I have is coming from Sudhir. And Avinash, coming to you for this one. He's holding 1,000 shares of Ellen Electronics at a price of 235, currently at a loss. Is that a hold or exit?
I think it's an exit. I would suggest that we should switch over to some specifically capital.
Okay, James wants to know whether he can buy ICICI Bank at a price of at around 800 rupees or at current market price. What's your take on this one, Hemen?
I wait for 730.
Okay, Avinash, Akshay is holding 100 shares of Bajaj Finserv from a price of 1,600. He can wait for the next 3 to 5 years. Would you advise him to add, hold or sell?
I think he should hold on. I think keep a long-term plan of at least 1.5 to 2 years. Definitely the company will bounce back. I think you need to remain invested here for the long term.
Okay, this is Anil from Bangalore. He's invested in DCX Systems. It's a recently listed counter. 1,000 shares at a price of 230 rupees per share for the period of 6 months. Do you think that he can continue to hold on to this one, Avinash?
Yeah, I think he should hold on. It's a very large defense player, and I think probably in the coming budget, you could see some positive announcement for the defense sector. So continue to hold on. Over the next 6 to 12 months, one could hopefully get a decent risk.
Okay, Avinash, Sunita wants to know, is this a right time to enter Yes Bank?
No, I think Yes Bank, I think would probably see a little more pain at least for the next couple of quarters. Fresh investments are forever.
Okay, Arya wants to know, can he enter Asian Paints at current price? What's your take, Himen?
From a shorter term point of view, yes, but longer term, after almost 2-3 decades, change looks what we have done.
Okay, but with this, it's time to wrap this edition of Rapid Fire as well as Buy Now, Sell Now. Thank you so much, Humena and Avinash, for joining us today on ET Now and helping all our viewers with their stock-related queries. But with this, it's a goodbye from me and Cheryl and the entire team who put this show together. Thank you so much for watching.